Welcome back. We are continuing with Blues Ain't No Mockingbird by Toni, Cade, Bambara. Let's do a quick review of what we know so far. So what we know is the topic of this story is an invasion of privacy story. If we put ourselves in the shoes of this family, they are out in their yard playing. Granny is making her Christmas rum cake on the porch. And all of a sudden, these news reporters come up with their camera buzzing. Buzzing means it's running. It's not a photographic click, click, click camera. It is a movie, a film camera. And they tell Granny that they're filming for the food stamps program. Now, it doesn't really matter to her what they're filming for. She's confronting them that they are on her property. And he even calls her auntie. And she comes right out and she says to him, "Your mama and I are not related." And then she gives him the big-eyed look when he says, "We'd like to have a statement from you for the film." And she's giving the eyebrows up like, you are still on my property. And this story is being told from the perspective of the narrator, who is friends with Kathy, who acts grown up, who is entertaining Tyrone and Terry, the twins, on the tire swing. And she is giving us her description of the reporters as Smiling Man and Cameraman. So Smiling Man keeps smiling, explaining why he's on the property. Now, let's take a look at what the setting is. That's the Adoja, by the way. It looks as though it is Smiling Man who says, "Nice things." Nope, it's Cameraman. "Nice things here," said the man, buzzing his camera over the yard. "Pecan barrels, the sled, me and Kathy, the flowers, the printed stones all along the driveway, the trees, the twins, the tool shed." So if you were to just back up for a moment, and as I've taught you in the past, draw out. Now I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start with the tool shed. So there's a tool shed. And then there's pecan barrels, probably that hold pecans. Then there is flowers. We'll draw a couple. Then there's a driveway, okay? And then there's printed stones that go up this driveway. I imagine they've been painted, maybe by the kids for fun. And then there's me, which is the narrator. There's Kathy. I'm going to put Kathy in pants. And then there are the twins. I'm going to make a tree. There's other trees all around. Not really sure why Theodosia's acting like that, but you'll have to bear with her. And then in the tree are the in the tire swing are the twins, swinging back and forth, okay? All right, so that's our setting. And I imagine the porch, we'll just make believe that the porch of the house is right here. And here's Granny, okay? Make that like a little bit of a porch with some steps coming down. All right, I'll write shed right there. All right, so we reviewed our setting, we reviewed our plot, and we have reviewed our characters and our setting. And that's always our job when we are getting down deep into the story. Maybe there's something you want to say for the film. I see you grow your own vegetables. He smiled real nice. If more folks did that, see, there'd be no need. Granny wasn't saying nothing. So they backed on out, buzzing at our clothesline and the twins' bicycles, then back on down to the meadow. The twins were dangling in the tire, looking at Granny. Me and Kathy were waiting too. Excuse me. Stop that. Stop that. Yes. Sorry about that. I think you should all have a laugh now watching me on video. And my cat and my daughter. And that's just a really good example too of privacy. Like, I've invited you into my life by recording this. You are welcome to see my cat scratching at the door and hear that, and my daughter in the other room. I've welcomed you into that. But if someone was just recording that without my permission, then that would feel very invasive. That would feel intrusive. As these reporters are making Granny feel. The twins were dangling in the tire, looking at Granny. So the twins are waiting for Granny to react even deeper. Me and Kathy were waiting too, because Granny always got something to say. She teaches steady with no let up. I was on the bridge one time, she started off. Was a crowd, 'cause this man was gonna jump. You understand? And a minister was there, and the police, and some other folks. His woman was there too. What was they doing? Asked Tyrone. Trying to talk him out of what it was they was doing. The minister talking about how it was a mortal sin, suicide. His woman taking bites out of her own hand and not even knowing it. So nervous and crying and talking fast. So what happened? Asked Tyrone. So here comes this person with a camera, taking pictures of the man and the minister and the woman, taking pictures of the man in his misery about to jump, 'cause life's so bad and people been messing with him so bad. This person taking up the whole roll of film practically, but saving a few, of course. Of course, said Kathy, hating the person, and me standing there wondering how Kathy knew it was of course, when I didn't, and it was my grandmother. After a while, Tyrone said, Did he jump? Yeah, did he jump? Say Terry, all eager. And Granny just stared at the twins till their faces swallow up the eager. And they don't even care any more about the man jumping. Then she goes back onto the porch and lets the screen door go for itself. I'm looking to Kathy to finish the story, 'cause she knows Granny's whole story before me even. Like she knew how come we moved so much. And Kathy ain't but a third cousin we picked up on the way last Thanksgiving visiting. She knew it was on account of people driving Granny crazy, till she'd get up in the night and start packing. Mumbling and packing and waking everybody up saying, Let's get on our way from here before I kill me somebody. Like people wouldn't pay her for things like they said they would, or Mr. Judson bringing us boxes of old clothes and raggedy magazines, or Mrs. Cooper coming in our kitchen and touching everything and saying how clean it all was, and Granny going crazy, and Granddaddy Kane pulling her off of people, saying, Now, Cora. But next day, loading up the truck with rocks all in his jaw, madder than Granny in the first place. Now, here's where the onion comes into play that I have drawn up here. This story is told in layers. And the reason why it's told a story within many stories, layers, is because we are getting to the heart of who Granny is and why she's even more perturbed or annoyed that people are on her lawn taking pictures, a movie picture of her family. And this is not the first time she's been annoyed by people, as our narrator tells us. We moved away from the Judsons. We moved away from the Coopers. We did it in the middle of the night. And in fact, in the very first paragraph, there was this hinting. She was dripping the rum into the Christmas trees. Into the Christmas tins. Like it used to drip maple syrup into the pails when we lived in Johnson's Wood, or when we poured cider into the vats when we were in Cooper Place, or scooped butter, milk, and soft cheese when we lived at the dairy. So this narrator, Kathy, has a memory of living 3 different places. In every single place they lived, Granny Cane got mad at the neighbors and packed up and left. And she had Granddaddy Cane help her pick up and pack up, and he would get really annoyed. But he listened to Granny Cane. There was no argument when she said, "Time to leave this place too." They would get up and pack up. This is a lady who doesn't want other people all up in her business. Okay? Now watch how she shows even more. Don't get up in my business. You up in my business, there are going to be consequences to pay. Now, Kathy, grown-up Kathy, is going to tell a story about somebody else who got up into people's business. The story within the story. The deeper story being the kids are playing while we watch Granny's life and personality unfold. "I read a story once," said Kathy, sounding like Granny Teacher, "about this Lady Goldilocks who barged into a house like it wasn't even hers and not invited, you understand, messed all over people's groceries and broke up the people's furniture, had the nerve to sleep in folks' bed." "Then what happened?" asked Tyrone. "What they do to folks when they come into all this mess? Did they make her pay for it?" "I'd make her pay." I didn't even ask. I could see Kathy, actress, was very likely to just walk away and leave us in mystery about this story, which what I heard was about some bears. "Did they throw her out?" asked Tyrone, like his father sounds when he's being extra nasty, plus to the washing machine man. "Woulda? I would have gone up her head with my fist. And oh, you would have done what you always do. You go crying to Mama, you big baby," said Tyrone. So naturally, Terry starts hitting on Tyrone. Like, "Stop picking on me, Tyrone." And the next thing you know, they tumbling out of the tire and rolling on the ground. But Granny didn't say a thing or send the twins home or step out on the steps to tell us about how we can't afford to be fighting amongst ourselves. And she didn't say nothing. So I get into the tire to take my turn, and I could see her leaning up against the pantry table, staring at the cakes she was putting up for the Christmas sale. Oh, she was mumbling real low and grumpy and holding her forehead like it wanted to fall off and mess up the rum cakes. Behind me, I hear, before I can see, Granddaddy Cane coming through the woods in his field boots. And then I twist around to see the shiny black oilskin cutting through what little left there was of yellow, reds, and oranges. His great white head not quite round 'cause of this bloody thing high on his shoulder, like he was wearing a cap on sideways. So we're going to stop there, and you can take a few more notes about the setting and the characters, this boss lady Grammy, or Granny. And when we come back, we'll see what presence, what kind of personality Granddaddy Cane brings to these reporters who want to take these private people and put them in the movies. I'll stop there and I'll see you in a bit.